Hi, it's Laura Coleman with Just Muscles here, wanting to explain to you in my blog today about how to hinge at your hips. We alluded to it in my interview with my friend Laura Jorgensen, the world-class outrigger canoeer, and she talked about being able to hinge at your hips. So I've been discussing this a lot with clients lately, and I thought it would be a lot easier for me to demonstrate it for you rather than try and write about it and do some still pictures. So what you're going to do is use a wall. And I read this fantastic book by the father of Russian kettlebelling, Pavel Tsatsouline, called Enter the Kettlebell. And he uses this sumo squat against the wall to help you figure out how to hinge at your hips. The reason you want to stand up against the wall is because the wall is not going to move. So you can't pop forward with your head. You can't pop forward with your knees. The wall forces you to throw everything back. So you can do it without weights. You can try turning your toes out and getting your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And you're going to slide down the wall, and you're going to think about bending your hips here, right in the crease of your hips. So you're always thinking about bending here rather than leaning over with your back, because I promise you, if you lean over with your back trying to do this sumo squat, you're gonna fall backwards. So the trick is, can you hinge at the hips? The wall doesn't let you go forward with your knees, so you can't cheat and use your knees. So you've gotta go down, and I've got a kettlebell right here waiting for me to touch, because I know that I'm deep enough in my squat, I can hang onto the kettlebell and come back up. Now, if I was here with you, I would say, okay, as you go down, here's the muscles that you want to feel. You want to feel hip flexors on the way down, that's any good squat, and then you want to drive through those heels and use those glutes and hamstrings as you stand back up. That is an ideal squat in any scenario, but especially when you're trying to figure out how to hinge at your hips. Now, the other day, I had a client who, when she got to about here, went, eh! My adductors are so tight, she couldn't go anywhere. And I said, you know, it might be useful for you to be able to be in this sumo situation, but supported. So an unweighted sumo squat. So I grabbed her a Swiss ball, and I'm gonna just move this kettlebell out of the way. So I had her try the sumo squat here. She went down. I'm always worried about the ball rolling away. So hang on to it a little bit. And then when her adductors started to scream, this is where we stay, to allow those adductors to stretch, so that this is sort of a precursor for the sumo squat itself. And again, you don't have to use a kettlebell, but believe it or not, the kettlebell is handy, or a dumbbell or anything like that, to counterbalance your weight so that, again, you don't tip backwards. So here I had her stay for, and I've blogged about this before, a minute and a half, because that's that magic muscle and nerve reset point. Your brain starts to learn the length of the muscle that you would like it to be, and so does your nervous system. So try it. If coming down with your feet apart like this gets you stuck about halfway down, consider grabbing a ball. See, they roll away all the time. And sit it underneath you so that you can stretch those little turkeys. Or try it unweighted so that you go down and you can drive through those heels and use your glutes and hamstrings on the way back up. Or if you're feeling crazy and you have a kettlebell or even a dumbbell, so you can just turn a dumbbell on its end and hang on to it and do your sumos here. Sometimes clients try and talk me into backing off the wall a little bit. They'll say, Laura, do I have to have my toes up against the wall? And I'll say, okay. So I let them scoot back just a little bit. Try that, but again, it allows for you to lean forward, and it allows for those knees to pop forward. So this is your quick fitness tip for today. Get those adductors out of your way. See if you can figure out how to hinge at your hips and use your hip flexors on the way down using Pavel Tsatsouline's sumo squat against the wall. This is Laura Coleman with Just Muscles. Here's to balance, strength, and happiness, and we'll see you next time.